One of the most exciting things about buried treasure is that it can be found almost anywhere, even in our own backyards. It may seem too incredible to be real, but many people have found hoards of treasure that have been buried right under their noses. Beside the standard gold and silver coins, we'll show you other strange and mysterious discoveries that everyday people found right in their own backyards. It's no mystery that the best way to view the latest is by subscribing. Make sure our videos don't get buried by pressing the notification button as well. Edith Howard Cook. Some people have found vast treasures buried in their yard, while others have found strange or unexplainable creatures. However, this story is one that elicits as much sympathy as curiosity. Homeowners John and Erica Carner were having construction done on their house when a contractor made a startling discovery when tearing up their backyard. He found a very small coffin containing the body of a young girl. It took almost a year for the girl to be identified using forensic analysis. The little girl was named Edith Howard Cook, and she passed away in 1876 at the age of 2. The metal coffin was sealed so tightly that the body was surprisingly well preserved, and usable evidence was able to be extracted. Strands of her hair showed that she had suffered from a protein deficiency, which would have been treatable with modern medicine. While the mystery of who the girl is and how she got there was eventually solved, there was something eerie surrounding this discovery. Both the contractors and the homeowners reported hearing footsteps upstairs that sounded as if a small child was running around. Once the coffin was discovered, the mysterious footsteps stopped and haven't been heard since. Roman villa. Finding a treasure trove of coins and other valuables in your yard is exciting, but imagine finding an entire Roman villa? That's exactly what happened to acclaimed rug designer Luke Irwin at his home in Wiltshire, England. While running some wires underground, he noticed an expanse of vividly colored mosaics buried in the dirt. Curious, Luke sent a photo to a local museum, and less than 24 hours later, his yard was flooded with archaeologists eager to take a look at this unparalleled discovery. It's thought that this ancient villa is one of the most elaborate, largest, and most well-preserved in the country. It dates between 175 and 220 AD, and it's thought to have once been 3 stories tall. Its old owners left it a mess, and the floor was littered with oyster shells which had been artificially cultivated and carried from the coast to the villa. They also found high-quality pottery, coins, jewelry, and the bones of wild animals. Archaeologists believe that this villa once belonged to someone of wealth and status, even possibly an emperor. It had such an effect on Luke that he used the mosaics as inspiration for some of his rug designs. Chapwick hoard. All these hoards of valuable items found by metal detectors kind of make those people you see using them at the beach look a little less silly. Cousins Kevin and Maren Elliott decided to explore their family farmland in Chapwick, Somerset, England with their new metal detector. Not only did they find a cache of treasure, which is now known as the Chapwick hoard, they found that it had been buried in a corner of a room of a previously unknown Roman building. It's thought that this was once part of a courtyard villa. The hoard is made up of 9,262 Roman coins, dating back from as early as 31 to 30 BC. Most notable of the coins were 2 that had never been found before in Britain, and the largest number of silver denarii ever found in Britain. The 2 newly discovered coins depicted Manila Scintilla, wife of Didius Julianus, an emperor who was assassinated just after the coins were released. The value of the hoard is estimated to be about $336,000. It's now on display at the Museum of Somerset if you want to take a look at it. Like the Hawksby hoard, we aren't sure who left these coins behind or why they buried them in this location. Giant earthworm. Earthworms are something that it's common to find in your backyard. But one man in China found one that was rather unusual. Li Ziwei was hanging up some laundry in his backyard when he noticed something crawling around the ground. At first, he assumed that it was some type of snake, but was shocked when he realized it was actually a massive earthworm. Typical earthworms grow up to a few inches in length, but this one was 19 inches long. Some earthworms located in South Africa have been known to grow to such lengths, but not any commonly found in this area. Scientists are baffled as to how a common backyard earthworm could grow to such an enormous length. The size of worms is related to their environment and depends on soil texture, weather, and the amount of precipitation. Lee decided to keep the earthworm in his yard and raise it the best he could. It attracts a lot of attention as locals and scientists alike stop by to marvel at this unusual earthworm. Meteorites. At first, you might think there isn't anything too unusual about finding a meteorite in your yard. We know that cosmic debris is pretty common in space, but most meteors burn up in our atmosphere long before they hit the ground. Finding a meteorite is incredibly rare, and even people specifically looking for them can have trouble finding them. However, a Bosnian man named Radovok Lejic doesn't have that problem. In fact, on 6 different occasions, he's found meteorites in his yard after they struck his house. He even went as far as reinforcing his roof with steel, just to be safe. The mystery here is that we have no idea why so many meteorites have ended up on this poor man's property. Scientists are working to examine the magnetic field surrounding his house to see if there is a reason this keeps happening. However, the homeowner has his own theory, and naturally it involves aliens. He claims that they are doing this on purpose, although he isn't sure exactly why. But since he's been able to sell the meteorites for a profit, maybe being targeted by aliens isn't always a bad thing. Jewelry. Yard work can be a grueling task, but it's a lot better when you find jewels hidden in your backyard. An Austrian man known only as Andreas K. was digging in his backyard when he found a treasure trove of jewels and ornaments. According to the department in charge of national antiquities, it's one of the most qualitatively significant discoveries of medieval treasures in Austria. There were over 200 pieces, including rings, brooches, belt buckles, and plates. Many of the items were gold or silver, and some were encrusted with pearls, fossilized coral, or other ornaments. It's thought that these items are about 650 years old, but we aren't sure where they came from or who buried them. Although that is a puzzling mystery, there is an even greater one. The man who discovered them initially tossed them in a box and stuck them in his basement, where they remained for 2 years. It was only when he happened to move that he remembered the box and posted pictures of the objects online. People quickly let him know that he had something special on his hands, which is why he finally reported his amazing find. Whale fossil. When Gary Johnson was a teenager, he spotted what appeared to be a bone in his family's backyard. Enlisting some friends to help, he dislodged the 1,000-pound fossil and used logs to roll it closer to his house. His parents called in an expert to examine it, but the expert found nothing significant and nothing more was done about it. Well, we aren't sure what the credentials were for this expert, but 30 years later, the significance of this fossil was finally recognized. Johnson called someone for a second opinion after seeing a similar fossil in a news article, and they realized that this fossil was from a baleen whale and is estimated to be about 14 to 16 million years old. It's one of only 20 known specimens of fossilized baleen in the world, so it is incredibly rare. The fossil was so huge that local sheriff's department dispatched its search and rescue team to move it. Chief Mike Leone claimed that despite its size, it was easier than moving some humans since the whale fossil didn't complain. The fossil is now in the Natural History Museum, where scientists hope to identify what type of whale this fossil came from. Cursed money. Finding a large cache of valuables on your land seems like a dream come true, unless of course it comes with a sinister curse. Of course, we aren't saying that curses are real, but the circumstances surrounding this mystery were pretty sinister. Wayne Sauvage was checking his garden for broccoli one day when he found a duffel bag filled with stacks of $20 bills. After some additional searching, he found a second bag also full of money. Wow, that's way better than finding broccoli. Gross. In total, the cash added up to $150,000. Wayne turned the money into the police, fearing that whoever had stashed it in his garden might come back for it. The police told him that if it went unclaimed, it would be returned to him. Sadly, Wayne never got to spend the money as he passed away just 10 days before he was due to collect it. Unlike other treasures, we do know where this one came from because Wayne's neighbor Dolores Johnson came forward after his death. The money was indeed hers, but the mysterious part is that she claimed she'd gotten rid of it because it was cursed. Dolores also didn't get to enjoy the money, as she passed away as well. Spooky. The funds ended up going to her heir, who we sincerely hope is alive and well. Hoxne hoard. You know that finding something with the word hoard in it is either going to be terrible or extremely lucrative. Fortunately, in this case, it was the latter. Near the village of Hoxne in Suffolk, a farmer named Peter Watling lost a hammer in one of his fields. He asked his neighbor and metal detector enthusiast, Eric Laws, to help him find it. In one of the fields, however, they found something much more valuable than a hammer. Their discovery would come to be known as the Hoxne hoard. It's a collection of items from the late 4th century to early 5th century CE. It contains Roman gold, silver, and bronze coins, as well as 200 pieces of silver tableware and gold jewelry. It's a total of 7.7 pounds of gold. and 52.4 pounds of silver, with an estimated value of $4.3 million. Who once owned the hoard and how it came to be buried are unknown, but we do have some clues. The hoard was buried with care and located far from any buildings. Common types of jewelry and large tableware items were missing, implying that these weren't the owner's only valuable pieces, so they likely came from someone with a lot of wealth. Gold coins. Finding buried treasure is something that we tend to think only happens in storybooks or movies, but occasionally it does happen in real life too. One couple in California, who chose to remain anonymous, discovered a cache of coins buried in their backyard. The couple noticed something unusual poking out of the ground one day and dug it up to investigate. Rather than being housed in an ornate treasure chest, these gold coins were stuck into rusty tin cans. Inside the cans were almost perfectly preserved coins, dating back to the 1890s. They found a total of 8 cans, containing a total of 1,427 bones. Of the coins, 1,373 were $20 coins, 50 were $10 coins, and 4 were $5 coins, and most were minted right in San Francisco. The estimated value for the coins is $10 million. As for how the coins got there, we have no idea. The family who found it hired an attorney to research who they might have belonged to, but they came up with nothing. It also appears that the coins weren't buried at the same time. One guess is that whoever buried the coins was in the mining industry and chose to store their savings in this unusual manner. Have you ever found anything strange and inexplicable? Tell us about your experience in the comment section. Before you grab your metal detector and head off in search of buried treasure, make sure to like our video and subscribe to The Hub. Please for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.